guys, welcome back to Dega Babe, and this week I have got to talk about the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. I couldn't not do a video on that, and it's the 25th of May today, and it was this day 40 years ago in 1977 that the very first Star Wars movie, not even called A New Hope at the time, just Star Wars, was released into only 42 theatres in the US. If you're new to Star Wars and you're not familiar with the background and you're only getting into it of the story, Fox at the time had no faith in this movie. They really thought it was going to fail. And George Lucas, of course, fair play to him, he persisted and he went and made his movie despite the amount of people who were laughing at him and joking and saying, yeah, this is stupid, this is silly, it's ridiculous. But of course they hadn't taken into consideration his amazing mind when it comes to doing special effects and the music, getting the music together and getting people like John Williams to come in and do the music, and then getting the amazing James Earl Jones to do the voice of Darth Vader, because of course on set it was David Prowse who was doing the voice, and his voice was muffled through a helmet. And David Prowse, I love David Prowse, but he is from the West Country in the UK, and the West Country is a beautiful place, but everybody in the West Country kind of has that kind of accent, you know what I mean, like they talk a little bit like that. And so he was speaking a little bit like that through the helmet, so it probably seemed a little bit comical. It's not exactly a villain's voice, even though his stature was extremely kind of intimidating and threatening looking. And so 42 theatres only it went into. It didn't even get an international release, and that is why in Ireland we didn't get the movie for years later, because Fox were not prepared for the fact that Star Wars was going to break the box office all over the United States in the 42 theatres, and then they released it nationally everywhere and everybody went completely nuts. So happy birthday, Star Wars! Happy birthday to you. As enough of that. I'm a crummy dancer on camera. So I wanted to talk to you today about the last 24 hours because quite a few things, well not quite a few things, but a few things have happened. We all know about Vanity Fair. If you don't know, Vanity Fair magazine have done a beautiful spread of photos that were taken about a year ago, exactly this week and last week. Most of it here in Ireland, some of it I think maybe in London, but some of it was shot here in Ireland, and the pictures I'll have come up here while I'm talking to you, and they are just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful photographs. They were taken by Annie Leibovitz, who's an amazing photographer, and she really captured kind of this nostalgic, almost rustic feel to some of these photographs. They're quite dark. I get the impression that this movie is really going to be dark, The Last Jedi, because these shots kind of just say that to you. Everything's dark and kind of sultry and smoky, and you know, it just says that about it. Beautiful photographs taken of all the characters. Of course they're in character in the photographs. You got Gwendolyn Christie there as Captain Phasma, along with Adam Driver, Kylo Ren, and of course our very old Donald Gleeson, an Irishman in Star Wars. Not the first, of course, there was Liam Neeson as well. Oh, and Brona Murphy, which only had a tiny little role in The Phantom Menace, but she was there, and she is an Irish actress. Really nice. So they've done 4 editions of Vanity Fair, so you can kind of pick the one that you like the most, which cover you like the most. I'm assuming all the content inside each magazine is identical, it's the same. So it's just they've done different covers depending on what you are into. So you've got like a Rebel cover with John Boyega and Oscar Isaac on the front with BB-8 and the new beautiful character Little Rose in there. She's such a teeny little thing, isn't she? And then there's the Empire, or sorry, the First Order one as well, which I just told you about. There's one for the droids there as well with Anthony Daniels and BB-8 and R2-D2 on it. But I have to say my favourites at the moment, my favourite pictures, the one of Carrie Fisher in that kind of black, almost kind of Transylvanian Dracula type cloak with a high collar on it. Sort of a dark side-ish look about that, and she looks incredible. All you trolls out there who had the cheek to tell her that she did not age well, screw you, because that photograph is just beautiful. She's so stunning in it. And anyway, she was stunning in The Force Awakens. I thought she looked great when she walked out. You know, you can't expect someone to look like they did when they were 19. They're not going to look that way. And I think it was really cruel what people did. They said mean things about Carrie, and Carrie was a stunner. I thought she was gorgeous. Still is big beautiful brown eyes, and in that photograph you can see those beautiful big brown eyes. So that was one of my favourites. The other two have to be these two because they're so kind of nostalgic and they kind of struck a chord in me. A beautiful photograph of Carrie and Billy Lourd together. Very, very kind of intimate hug, really, really lovely. And I thought that's a beautiful photograph for Billy Lourd to be able to look back on, to remember her mother. Just a gorgeous photograph. I loved it. I thought it was lovely. And then the other one, of course, that really got me is the one of Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher together as Luke and Leia reunited. And just, she actually looks a little kind of, I'm presuming they asked her to look a little sort of sad in the photograph, a little tiny bit upset. I'm thinking that that photograph, they're supposed to be grieving over Han, because that kind of looked like that was the setup for it. A beautiful picture, and of course means a lot now since last December, since Carrie passed away. Just a really gorgeous photograph. I really like that one. And then of course there was Chewbacca and Rey, Eunice and Daisy sitting in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, another great photograph. And then two beautiful ones that mean a lot to us here in Ireland. The first one is Rey running with the sabre, and of course I think that was taken in Cian Shabale. If it wasn't, it was probably Skellig Michael, one or the other here in Ireland. And the second one is Luke and Rey standing side by side, and that is definitely Cian Shabale because I recognised it. And I was down there during that time when they were shooting all of that, and I saw that beautiful set that's built behind them. That is not actually Skellig Michael in the background of that photograph. That was a set that they built for The Last Jedi. I think that there were questions over conservation about allowing them back onto Skellig Michael, especially if they were going to be doing maybe scenes that were going to require some fighting and things like that, because it's an area of conservation and it's protected. So I think that's why they ended up going to Cian Shabale to have to build this this replica set of the monastic village that's on the top of Skellig Michael. But really, really lovely. Unfortunately, no pictures shown of them in Malin Head, which is up in Donegal. So Malin Head is kind of a little bit forgotten. And it really shouldn't be, because it plays a huge part in the movie as well. They came and they shot there for I think 3 or 4 days. I was there. They built the belly of the Millennium Falcon out on this summit. So don't forget about good old Malin Head. It's a gorgeous place, really beautiful. And you have to go in up to Farron's Bar up there. They've got like this this beautiful kind of logo of Yoda on the side of the pub, which I'm sure is still up there. And if you're up there and you're a fan of my channel, my BB-8 should still be behind the counter. My BB-8 should still be behind the counter. So that should be there as well if you go up. So that's just a little plug for my little gorgeous Ireland, because this country is amazing. I love it so much. And so that was a Vanity Fair spread that they did, but Disney Store have also released a whole array of 40th anniversary merchandise, and it really is for the serious collector. This is not something for children. This is for the people who were children in '77 who have now grown with Star Wars like myself and absolutely love it. So I'm going to show you some of the pictures here of the things that they have brought out. They have brought out a series of lithographs, and they are pictures of the original posters that were released in '77, both in America and internationally. So beautiful artwork there, some Ralph McQuarrie stuff there as well. A really gorgeous little collection of lithographs, and it's only priced at £20, probably about 25, 26 euro, and it's worth having because they've only made 3,300 of these, so you really will. That's not a lot. When you think about the amount of people on this planet, 3,300 is not a lot that they've made. They've also done this huge collection of these pewter figurines, and they're really, really nice. They've got like a BB-8, I think they've got a Poe Dameron, they've got a Chirrut Imwe, which I show you here. They've got kind of everything, and they've got a really lovely one of Princess Leia in the gold bikini. These are priced, I think, about 200 to 260, 270 pounds, so probably about 300 euro. And then the one that I really, really liked is this limited edition. There's only 1,200 of these available, and it's a limited edition kind of bronze figure. I hope it's bronze figurine of Luke and Leia from the original Star Wars poster for A New Hope. It's really nice and comes in a beautiful presentation box, and I'm sure it will come with a certificate of authenticity as well, which most Disney merchandise that's limited edition does, because I have the Cinderella slipper that came out a few years ago, and that did. That came with one. It's really lovely. So I think they're very worth buying if you're a serious collector, or if you're getting into it. These are worth buying and keeping clean and keeping kept away or in a display case, because they're worth a lot later on. They're very valuable later on. You can probably hear Boo Boo 8 going nuts out there. She's heading outside, my dog. And then of course they released this figurine, which I thought was kind of cute, based I think a bit around the Kenner products, of Han and Luke in the Stormtrooper costumes, in the Stormtrooper outfits. And they kind of kept them very simple, just like the original, because the original figures were awful. They were awful, but we all loved them. We loved them so much. I used to have R2-D2, and I had Luke Skywalker as well. And R2-D2 was just, stickers. His design was just stickers stuck onto him. But I loved him. I loved it so much, and I played with it so much. It got wrecked and it's gone, unfortunately, now. But they're the things that Disney Store are offering, so get yourself into your Disney Store. If you want to be a serious collector, I'd advise you to get in there soon, because the big Star Wars collectors will have those things snapped up in a second. So I guess that's kind of it from me this week. I don't have a lot more after that. I just wanted to talk to you about 40 years of the Force. If you have stories about the first time you saw Star Wars, the very first one, whether you saw it in 77, maybe you saw it in 1980, maybe you only saw it a few months ago, maybe you only saw it 2 years ago, maybe you're only new to all of this. Tell me about your experience, how you felt about seeing that movie for the first time. Comment below. And if you don't already have it, the best comment and the best story, I will send you a little prize, and it will be the Ultimate Visual Guide by Pablo Hidalgo to Rogue One, because I have 2 copies, so I'm going to give away 1. So comment below and tell me what your favourite thing about seeing Star Wars for the first time was. Okay guys, that's it from me. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and come along and join me, and we can rule the galaxy together. Getting really used to saying that every week. It feels more powerful each week that I say it. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and come along and get involved, comment, let me know what you think. Maybe you have some suggestions of things you'd like to see me do. And next week I'm going to bring you a countdown of my 5 favourite Luke Skywalker moments. I'm having trouble talking today. My favourite Luke Skywalker moments. So have a great week. Get yourself out in the beautiful sunshine. 25 degrees in Ireland. That's hot for Ireland, people. That's hot for Ireland. And I'll talk to you next week. So may the Force be with you. Bye.